All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Whew. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, your brother from another mother, Mr. A.D. Walker. Thank you guys for rocking. As always, share this conversation and tag someone that needs to hear this. Be a part of this movement. Be a part of this change. We are always talking about different things and situations that deal with men. This is going to be an amazing conversation. Let's see. All right. So make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. So today we are discussing part two, the mental state of fatherhood, part two. Hey, Mama McCoy, great morning to you. Hey, Lisa, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for rocking and hanging with us. I think, hopefully I put the link for my brothers to come. I thought I did, but let's double check, shall we? So I pray everybody's having an amazing day, or at least an okay day. Okay day. Let's see. Go here. Go here. Yeah, I put it in there. Awesome sauce. All right. All right, we live. Oh, you know what I meant to? Dang it. Hang this. All right. So, good morning, Deborah. Cole Sports in the building. Great morning, my brother. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you, guys. If I have not said it, I appreciate you guys. And I need everybody to leave Facebook and go over to YouTube because I'm not getting a lot of people are not getting notifications. I'm not sure what's happening. So I need to flood the YouTube, in order for us to increase our reach there. Because eventually I'm probably just going to hang out in the YouTube space. Because, it's what we do. I've been oven a lot this morning. Oh, also, if you've not checked out, thank you, Deborah. If you've not checked out my old new revamp Success Simplified podcast, I brought it back. It's a little twist on it. If you got time, check it out. Success Simplified podcast. You can look it up anywhere. I have a Facebook page, so it'll send you straight to it. I've been doing about a week and some change, so I had to wait till I'm consistent before I talked about it, because I finally found a good flow. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, appreciate you. So make sure you check that out. Let a brother know what you think. It's a little twist on what I've normally done. Just gonna say that it's just a little different than what I've normally done. All right, so it may be just me this morning because I'm not sure where my brothers are at. I put the link in, and so we're gonna see how this thing goes down. All right, let's do this. Spliggity splow, spliggity splow. All right, so this is your opportunity to share, tag, and all that, and then some. Let's see. What's up, Cheryl? Great morning to you, my friend. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And all right, so we'll be right back. So make sure you share. Sharing is caring. So I'm probably just going to share my life as a father and some of the thoughts that I have on fatherhood and some of the fallacies. All right, we'll be right back. I didn't want to catch
Good
that.
Morning. Good morning.
Welcome to another edition of
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit. And I'm back. Welcome back. Let's see in the building. Yeah, that's not me though. That's not me. That's all legitimate commercial. Somebody else did that. I edited, but that was all somebody else. Let's see. Hold on, because I had this thing broken down. Break it down. All right. So I'm going to talk about, the fatherhood mentality, right? And how, at least from me in the beginning, the fear that comes with it, the unknown spaces of it. Especially, if you have more than one kid, the first kid is the biggest because, it's not sure what's going to happen in home. It's like, what am I going to do with this kid? How am I? What's my parenting skills? Where's the book? Where's the class? And as many books there are published, as many classes as there probably are, nothing really prepares you when you get home, because it's almost like standing in front of a test. It's like, feel like then you don't know. And there's a lot of unknowns because every child, of course, just like every person, is different. So it was very challenging. Well, challenging mentally. It wasn't as hard as I thought, because I set the bar like, okay, I'm gonna really focus on this. And for me, I never wanted to be that TV dad that didn't know what to do with their child. What's up, Willette? Good morning, my friend. So I never wanted to be that TV dad where I struggled with my child, especially when mom wasn't around. Because you have watched that, mom's with the baby so much that she leaves and now I'm struggling. It's like, I remember the day, my first time being with my son by myself. It was, I was a little nervous. I was like, I got this. I have had enough time, me and him, that, but now it's like no safety net. He cried. I gotta figure it out. I gotta handle it. So it was a different mental space that I wasn't used to, because for one, I grew up not as an only child, but my brother is 10 years older than me. So, not dealing with kids, not having a sibling that close. Right. Yeah, right. So you didn't want to forever be a punchline. Right. That's the one thing I dislike about how, right, all the time, man. They act like fathers don't have no clue what to do with a baby. like I'm here. I'm watching, I'm learning, and mothers aren't naturally, a lot of mothers, some, I won't say a lot, but some mothers, they don't know what to do with a baby either, because they may grow up like my situation. They probably never babysat. They never dealt with kids like that, and they figuring it out just like I'm figuring it out. And with your first kid, anything wrong, you're ready to go to the hospital. We probably went maybe a good 2-3 times where it wasn't anything, but in our watching, there were times that there was something. So it's a different experience. It's a different experience. And it's different than having somebody else's kid as opposed to having your own. Because, when you have somebody else's child, there's a fallback. There's the, I can send this baby home. I can call somebody, hey, what's wrong with him? So it's always that support system when you have somebody else's baby or watching them, hey, good morning, Keita. Great morning to you. And having that support system. So that matters, but when you have your own, it's like you got to have the answers. You got to figure this out. You got to know what you're doing, and you want to YouTube, but you ain't got time because this baby's hollering. So it becomes a challenge. And so getting into that mental fatherhood space, And honestly, like getting out of self, shifting your selfishness, because now your moving parts have gotten bigger. Now I can't just agree to go somewhere because I got this baby, I got this car seat, I got this bag, I gotta, it's a lot more planning. Going somewhere, you have to add another hour to it because it's like change the diaper. Oh, it's all the way up the back. What do we need to do? So it changes. And we know kids change everything. It changes everything. It changes your lifestyle. It changes your thought process. Changes what you do. Changes what you watch. Because you're mindful, especially in the I gotta have them in the same room with me phase. You gotta watch. You gotta be mindful of what you're putting on TV. Like, oh, I can't watch that. It's like I thought I could. Now they're starting with the nonsense. Um, so it's a lot of things that change, physically change, and your mentality of life itself. And you're looking every seed, everything that you plan is not just for now, but it's for later. So the seeds that you're planting into your children, the places that you take them and places that you hang out with your babies matters. So everything shifts. So that's like the beginning part of that journey. And moving forward and having an understanding of raising your kids, and we spoke about this last night, in relationships, being able to not lay your frustration upon your children. So I'll relate that not just to the relationship, but even to work itself. When you come home from work, no matter what day you have, you kind of got to leave that at the door so you can give your kids a fresh face. like you got to lay your tiredness, you got to lay your irritability, you got to let it go because, you now have to clock out as employee and clock in as daddy, coming into your household and being able, dad and husband, and being able to clock in and to interact. It's, my dad. He worked, come home. Like, I don't know, of course, the baby side because I was the youngest. And my brother, he could probably speak to how my dad interacted with the baby, but I don't think he probably did a lot of the diaper changing, because old school. My parents were really old school. My dad, he rarely ever really cooked. I think he had a chili he used to make once in a while, but he was outside. My mom was inside, kind of thing. And what I mean by that, like she cleaned inside, he took care of outside. That's kind of how they operated. And it was an interesting dynamic. Interesting dynamic. My dad was really soft spoken. He was a man of few words. And like I spoke about yesterday, he was my wife said like a gentle giant. But there were it's just the dynamic in the household, was different. My mother was more hands on. He stepped in sometimes as a corrector. If things got a little tough, but she handled because he would work late. From what I remember, he would go in early, he'd work late. Um, so he would always get home hours after, like the 7, 8, 8 o'clock ish. We would eat dinner together and things of that nature. And so it was an interesting dynamic. So learning from him, um, as this, what I got from him was more provider, go to work. That was, if anything, that's a consistent thing. He was always going to work, always, always, always. He was never a dude to miss out. So I learned that. Like right now, I could still see him putting his socks on because he wore a uniform. He worked for the city bus. He drove a city bus in the city. So putting his uniform on, same kind of socks. Wondering how many pair of the same socks he had because so it was the same. It's like these blue MTA socks. Um, what's up? Good morning, Miss Yvonne. So that was an interesting dynamic. Interesting dynamic. Um, so one thing I got from him was provider, right? Um, And it was from that I learned the consistency of taking care of your family. You never want to leave your family out there without a safety net, without some kind of plan. Um, and that's what I learned from him. The other part, as far as being more involved, you know, because sometimes my mother had to do a lot. She had to do a lot, and when I got older, I picked up the slack. Not voluntarily, of course. It's this your responsibility. Do this, And I realized that there was more to be done. What's up, Richard? Good morning, sir. There was more to be done in the household, so I pushed myself to wanting to be more in my household, to being more present. You know, I gotta admit, the one thing I would see on TV is the fun dad. I think, and I feel like it was trying to, it was like a I won't say conspiracy, but a push for dads to be more fun, to be more involved in the house, because you see it on TV, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to be the fun dad. So, I pushed myself to be more active in the household, to be more fun, to do the silly stuff, and to interact more with my children in that manner. Um, because I feel like you get to know your dad more. Of course, I have my stern moments, just like any dad, but having more enjoyment. Dad was cool, but we never had a lot of just fun moments, just silly moments. And like I said, he came from a generation where kids were seen, not heard, and we didn't care what you think. You didn't care what you want. what what you gonna eat? I really wasn't the choice. I think Fridays was I go out, so I may had a choice like Burger King or Pizza Hut. It was probably some stuff my pops wanted. It's like, you know what? I'm in between. You decide. So those moments. But like I said, growing up like that has been a interesting moment. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. They had me. Cool. All right. Pastor should be in the building in a minute, hopefully. Um, well, you just hear me the whole time. So yeah, it was so as the provider, it was the learning, um, to be more active, to be more fun. Um, I think, the challenging part of the fatherhood part for me, but it was probably a couple. So he says you've done also. Appreciate you. Listen, I gotta be prepared for this. Gotta be prepared for this because I know things happen. So I got my mindset like, okay, if I'm rocking this is the direction I'm gonna go. But I appreciate that. So being prepared, the toughest part for me was one of them. Uh, Parenting when me and my wife separated. If you don't know the story, check out Purposeful Forever. When me and my wife separated, and it was just trying to, get used to just me and the kids. We used to have how you took on the serious. Oh, he said, "I'm enjoying how you took on the seriousness of fatherhood from the jump." Yeah, telling you, I just didn't want to be behind. Appreciate that, Rich. Um, so it's when we separated and understanding, you know, I had being all in one, because for the most part, when we together, like I could be fun. My wife can she kind of lay down the law a little bit, like, and we kind of like the good cop, bad cop. I mean, I did my share of yelling as well, so it wasn't like all on her. Trust me, I get crazy as well. But it was, having the space where it's just me, you know, to do it all, when they came and visited because they still live with her, but they would come like I had the weekend, it was that typical kind of situation when you separate. Now me and her were good, it was never she never made it hard for me. Never. And I just want to make sure I make that clear. She never made it difficult to be a father because she knew, she know that they still needed me in their lives and she never made it hard. She made it easy as possible. She worked with me. She never made it a challenge. Our relationship issues were our issues, but parenting, we work together. Um, So that part was challenging at first. Just okay, it's just me and you guys. Just us. It's just us. Um, but it was an interesting thing that I learned, and the kids enjoyed it, and they would mention things that they like. So I felt like, okay, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. Um, Boom, let's go. Cole says, in your experience, which gender do you find harder to parent as a father? Um, Both of my kids are pretty much equal. I think right now my struggle, and he's sitting here with me, is school. My son is struggling in school. Um, he's his. I think that's has been his struggle. I think my only area of kind of difference. He struggled with school. Now my daughter's a little more sensitive. She, I can correct my son. He just, all right, Dad, I got you. All right, we'll go through that. But she'll give me the waterworks anytime I try to correct her, push her, encourage her. Like you gotta do. She's always start with the waterworks. So it is a difference of disciplining experience as well as how they grow up. Um, you go, all right, Pastor in the building. Great morning to you. So
Morning.
that is the biggest difference for me in raising, gender wise. Um, hey, Aunt Sam, great morning to you. All right. But I think that's just in school. For me, my son struggles, and so it's just handling that. My daughter, she excels. She kind of like semi autopilot for her or for us. We just gotta keep her from being lazy, because things have come to her so easily that when anything gets challenging, she like rushes through it or she doesn't do well on it. So I think it's overcoming the stuff that she may have to work a little harder to get done. I think has been the biggest struggle with her. And
Parenting.
yeah, but for the most part, she's an autopilot. She Chris, what's up, Chris? Oh, let's see. He said, "I'm Italian. I cry every day from Tuesday." Oh man, hey Miss Crystal, you said hiring tutor is. I guess I'll wait for the rest of that sentence. And we've had tutors and things of that nature, and he does his extra assignments and extra time with the teachers and stuff like that. Especially during this pandemic, having to find them online. That's been interesting, though. I mean, yeah, that's been that's kind of shifted the whole school dynamic. So, he said daughters would be more difficult if I had kids. Boys can be challenging, but it's not the same. Money well spent. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Tutors do make a difference. They know it because they know what they're doing. They focus. They know to get your child goal. They know what's going on. Because they're trained and they understand it. So I do appreciate tutors. So Pastor, good morning, sir.
Morning.
So today we're talking about the mental state of fatherhood part 2. I spoke about my first experience, with my son coming into the world and my anxious nervousness about I can't believe I'm a dad. It's like I can't believe I'm somebody's father. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you it's one of those things like what's gonna happen, but then it's like, am I really somebody's dad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Well, the
gotta
greatest
raise
part
this.
about that is they didn't get a chance to choose.
Right. right, right, right,
My
right,
concern is if they had a chance to choose, that's how I was at the beginning.
right.
But even, in spite of all of that,
Yeah.
the good times, the bad times, the up times, the down times, the greatest part of fatherhood is having your children tell you that God could not have chosen a better father.
Wow.
That, man, wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway,
That's
we won't
awesome.
start with the waterworks.
Right.
But you clearly,
Yeah.
I'm the father of many daughters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
girls will tell
Yeah.
you that stuff. Boys be like, "You all right?"
Yeah. Right. Right.
My son
Right.
was pretty, yeah, but my son was pretty open
Right.
with his heart, though. You know, he had no problem
Okay.
telling me I love you.
Okay.
He actually outgrew the anxiety with me kissing him. As he got older, he became more comfortable. When he was young, dad,
Right.
but when he was older, he appreciated it. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah,
Wow.
because
Wow. That's
I
good.
never outgrew kissing my children.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Wow. Yeah. Cause I
I
mean,
don't kiss. I
yeah.
never kissed him in the mouth though.
Nah. Yeah. That
Just
one.
for clarity's sake, you know.
There you go. That one.
For that
That one.
for that
Always the
dude back there in the
forehead.
corner, like what?
Always the forehead. Always the forehead.
Right,
Yes.
right. Got you, man. I got you. Got you.
Right. Right. And if you're too big, then you just got to bend down. Let me get your forehead.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But I heard you talking about the difference in education academics with regards to boys and girls.
Yes.
And you saying that it's less challenging with Alexis than it is with AJ?
I'll say in my house. So yes.
And you're okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Alexis, like I said, she's kind of like autopilot. We just got to check how she flying. So I push her, if she get a B, I'm like, we got to get an A,
Yeah.
so I don't lay back. Cause I did for a minute. I was like, wait, I'm pushing him, of course, cause he's struggling. I was like, but I need to push her so she can do better than where she's at. Cause she get, like I said, she get lazy. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, these B's. It's like, all right, so we need
I
to
heard
work hard
something
to
from
get an A.
one of those guys. This guy, Matthew Stevens, I think,
Okay.
Apostle Matthew Stevens, Dr.
Yes.
Matthew Stevens, I think is his name. He teaches this master class, and one of the things he said is, let's not sleep on our potential. He said people take potential
Yes.
to the grave, having
Right.
never manifested their potential. Right.
Right. Right.
He says, but and this is something that my wife did with our children at a very early age.
Right.
We always want to cheer our children. We want to be the greatest cheerleaders. But she would get up and she taught them, you're a genius. You're a leader. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. We had this mantra that they would go through every morning before going to school.
Right.
Even when they were homeschooled, we had this mantra before the day began.
Okay.
And you kept putting it in them, reinforcing it till they got it in their spirit. It became a part of who they are. Right.
Right.
And it's that provocation. And so what Matthew Stevens says is potential needs provocation.
Right. Wow.
Right. The Bible says provoke one another unto good works, because without provocation, you never enact your potential. It just sits there. Something has to provoke it.
Yes.
And with our children, what I've learned is academics, it's not sexually orientated. She's not better because she's a girl. Girls aren't easier than boys. It's personality. No. It's completely personality, because I have 4 daughters, and I have, out of the 4, I have one that has been autopilot. Wow. She just excelled. She just did her thing. You never had to tell her anything twice. You never had to get on her about homework. She just pushed herself. She just wanted more. She's always done that. And that's the one that's getting ready to graduate. I'm not saying that the others haven't done it. I'm just saying that, she needed the least provoking. Right. And it's just personality. And that's what I try to get people to understand. So it has nothing to do with boys or girls. It just has to do with the potential provocation. And some people require less than others.
Right. It's funny because I before me and you had talked more, I was thinking that, because I heard a couple of, families that said, my boys struggling in school, my girls excel. Then I spoke to you. It's like, nah, it's not all girls. All girls don't. So when you ask, like, nope, in my household, I think that was that. I do have to say that is different. Like, so it isn't. But I think as far as personality, I think for me, and like I said, sometimes you can't put a blanket on it. But for me, like, even with disciplining, my daughter, with her speaking, correcting, brings the waterworks, we'll get a reaction. My son, I have to kind of get in his face a little more, if I just speak to him, he's like, all right, then that's it.
Right.
Right,
Right.
cool.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
So here is a little more. I gotta kind of get at him a little harder, to get the proper reaction.
Well, and what I found, my son was always reactive to
What's up,
incentives.
Dwayne?
You
Okay.
know, boys, and I don't know if this is boys or girls, but I know children are incentive based. They can be incentive based.
Yes.
But I think
Yes.
boys more than girls.
Yes.
When you offer something, when you dangle that carrot
Right.
out there for the boys, they're all over it. When I used to tell them, hey man, if you get this done, remember that game you wanted?
Yeah.
It was always working towards that award. Morning, Dwayne.
Right.
And that always helped with Brian,
Wow. So would you actually ask me what was my son like? Video games. He loves electronics. He is interested in creating apps. So he's been taking a few classes on apps and stuff like that. So that's been my push. If you're gonna get into electronics, that's fine. Let's find the educational portion so this can become something more than just playing. Let's see. Oh yeah, good morning. So yeah, that's what he loves doing. I think for my son, it's the stuff is good, but I think hanging out, going places with friends and stuff is his carrot, because I've taken stuff and just like, all right, then I just won't have. All right, then I just won't do. It's when he sees his sister going out the door to go somewhere. Yeah, that's usually when I get the best reaction. Like, she gets to go. Yeah, you don't get to go. Like, what you mean?
Let me ask y'all this. Because I'm listening to y'all talk, and it's everybody only got one boy. Well, the other got one girl too. So, but I don't know if it's me or what it is, because I think I might be harder on my son than anybody else. I mean, and I'm being honest. Like, I'm having a moment.
No, you good.
Yeah, like my daughters, it seems like they have bigger thresholds to mess up than my son do. And I can't put my finger on it. When I talk to myself, I got excuses, but maybe that perhaps there are reasons. I don't know. like okay, I'll give you one. With him, I treat him like he's me now, and I know that there's some things he's gonna mess up, but he gets this whole story, and it's like, I thought you were supposed to clean your room yesterday. And then I it's like patience runs out with my boy sometimes. He catches everything, and the girls are just like, yeah. But at the same time, my girls are a little more laid back, and the energy isn't as high. I don't. Nobody else ever went through that phase where it's like one got it harder than the other, but they probably doing the same thing.
Absolutely. I think it's a totally different experience with boys than it is with girls. I look at it like, for me, raising children is like, I have these phrases. You have to have what to look to, you have to have what to look at, you have to have what to look for.
Okay.
Right. And so I always have to keep in mind what they're looking at. I have to be concerned with what they're looking to, and I have to recognize what they're looking for, or teach them what to look for. And so with boys, I've learned that you actually have to keep boys closer than you do girls. You understand? Girls have to be guided. Boys have to be directed. There is a difference, right? Because boys are going to lead the home. Girls are going to become a part of a home. Does that make sense? I mean, that's how the system is designed.
I got what you're saying.
That's how it's designed, right? Because we're the women, my wife is my helpmeet.
Right.
Helps me meet the needs of my household. That's how we were designed.
Right.
So I want my daughters to have a sense of independence.
Right.
But I also recognize how critical it is to understand interdependence.
Right.
Right. And with girls, it's going to be different. I don't want my daughters growing up acting like men.
Right.
And I don't want my sons looking for cover in a woman.
Right.
Because we're the cover. Now, don't get me wrong. My wife covers me in prayer. We become one. Right. But what I'm saying is everything inside of my house is under the umbrella of my leadership. So it has to be different with boys than it is with girls.
Yeah. I agree with the you have to, I'm a little hard on AJ, for responsibility. Make sure you're taking care of this, watch over the house. Like when I leave, hey, I need you to make sure everything's good. Check on your mom, it is different. I do push my daughter, for responsibility as well, because you need to be able to handle yourself and have the interdependence, but at the same time, I need you to be able to be responsible, and handle yourself, because the one and one makes one, but you need to be a whole one. I need you to have your stuff together as well. And you're right, Pastor, like teaching your son to be strong, like, yo, I need you to step up. So I'm hard on you. I'm tough on you because I need you to be strong. And like kids and competition, my daughter's always, we asked to do something. She always trying to get to it first. I'm like, listen, stop trying to pick up everything heavy. Like, I get it. You can get it, but I need my son to get it. Cause he's like, he'll move a little slower to let her get it.
But look at what you're doing. Yeah. Look at what you're doing though, AD, what you're showing. See, this is what I've learned. In order for your children, like your children are going to emulate you. They're gonna echo what you're doing. They're going to mimic what you're doing.
Right.
What I've learned is I have to make fatherhood exciting.
Yes.
I have to make it inviting. I have to make husbandry attractive.
Right.
So that they look forward to it.
Right.
But I also have to show them that there's a time and a season for it.
Yes.
Right. I don't need you to be a wife at 16.
Right.
I want you to be a 16-year-old.
Right.
When you talk about, the example you gave of like chores, my daughters, it's funny. I was taking my daughters out somewhere this week, and I've been close to home. My wife has done a lot of running errands and stuff with the girls here lately. And this week we were Sunday, we were going somewhere in the car, and my youngest daughter, Rachel, went to push her door open, and Brianne looked at her like, girl, what are you doing? Because I was coming behind them.
Right.
And she said, you better get out of the way and stop trying to, she was like telling her, there's a man here. Why are you trying to touch the door? Right. And Rachel was like, oh my God, we have been traveling. We have been doing so much running around with mommy.
Right.
I forgot daddy was here. Wow. And so she immediately stepped back out of the way so that I could open the door.
Right.
And so those little things, that pattern of behavior, that gives them something to look forward to. They also recognize if you're not doing these things that my father did, you might not qualify. Right. And so when you make things like that attractive, I got the door. Right. I'm pumping the gas. You shouldn't have to do these things. Right. Now, here's how to do it in the absence.
Right. Exactly.
Right. You teach them how to change a tire, teach them how to do those things.
Yeah.
But never let your daughter grow up and be the picture that I saw on social media a couple of years ago, where there was a man sitting in the passenger seat on his phone, and there's a woman putting air in the tire.
Wow.
Right.
I've
seen women pump gas with men sitting in the passenger seat.
Right.
And I literally go, hey, how you doing, sis? Right. And she says, oh, I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. I'm like, no, I was talking to the one in the passenger seat.
Right.
See, if I'm hanging out with Pastor, we might get in fights over real stuff. I mean, that's a real issue.
Yeah.
Man, get your lazy butt up.
Right.
But it's like, I'm glad I'm hearing this, because I don't talk about the struggles of raising a boy. I don't because it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
growing up, bunch of nieces, like you said, Pastor, women become parts of homes, men leave the home. My sisters, they were constantly around, and like for you that don't, my sisters, my siblings got children my age. So growing up, it was always my nieces around. Like there was always like 6 or 7 nieces around. And then when I'm 17, 18, they had my sisters are having little kids now. Um, so I was changing diapers and all that stuff early.
Right.
So now I sometimes wonder, am I too much? Am I being too hard? Because like me and my wife we used to crash a little bit when it came to the son. It's her only boy, and she was like, "You being way too hard."
Mm-hmm.
And then I got this little thing in the back of me. I was like, I know how I feel to be a black man. You don't know the first thing about being a man in this world. You see it, but you don't know it. I was like, when he leave this house, he's a black man. And I was like,
Right.
depending on who looking at him, that could be a whole lot of different perceptions off rip. I was like, you don't need to be so I was like, you can be loving on him. I was like, but he need to be hard too. I was like, because out here in the world, they're not getting for a while. I struggled because I felt like every time I turned around, I'm on him. It's
Right.
like, and I wasn't, and it's not like I was looking like. True
Oh.
story. I look behind the living room couch, and there's like 5 candy bar wrappers and like water bottles and potato chip wrappers. This is just the living room. I was like, okay, maybe it's been a while since the chair got pulled out. I don't know. So
Right.
he overslept for school one morning. I'm like, man, what you ain't up for? You staying up late last night? And then I noticed a little something behind the bed. And that little something turned into a garbage bag full of trash behind his bed and dressers and underneath his pillows and underneath the mattresses. And I'm like, why not do it? I was like, I had to call my mom and I still couldn't get a full answer because my mom has Alzheimer's now, so it's not the same
Oh.
asking her
Right.
questions. I
Right.
was like, was I that bad? Was I that busy?
All right.
Look,
Wow.
we got this thing. It's not Timbuktu, but that's what we call it because it's out in sticks and it's a reform school and it wasn't
Wow.
fun.
Wow. Oh,
No, but
Cole
he's a
said,
good kid though. He's just
yeah.
busy. And
Right. Right.
always
Oh,
in his
yeah.
mind, he'll take trash,
Right.
like stuff that I want to throw away, but he want to build something. I'm like, boy, let's get you some engineering courses or something.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I think fostering that creativity is definitely key. Try not to squelch it. It's just like,
Provocation.
yes.
And
But
you're right, AD, because it's easy to crush it thinking you helping.
right.
Because I literally had to listen to my wife, and man, this is one of those things. I had to listen to my wife because there was a point where I'm like, woman, I'm saying this to my head, and I'm like, woman, stop being so daggone soft on this boy. Yeah, I love him. He know I love him. Well, when the last time you told him? Didn't I make breakfast for him this morning? I gave him a hug.
I gave a hug, right?
And it's some, not all, some of us at some points before we grow up a little bit, we don't really know how to love our boys the way we love our girls.
Right.
Because we think if we love them, we're gonna make them soft, and that's just not true.
So I'll challenge you on that one.
Okay,
it's not that we don't. It's not that we don't know how to. We don't know how to express it.
Right. There you go. No, and
we love them. We love them. We just struggle with how it's expressed.
I'll say like I've, and I won't even say push, but I made it a habit. Like we talked about earlier about the kissing on the forehead. Make sure we say the kissing on the forehead. Like I constantly grab my son and tell him I love him. Kiss him on the forehead and show affection. Like I try every day. I make it a purpose. like, boy, you didn't come hug me today. Like, so I definitely push it. It's real because I know, because even boy, we need love. we need love. We need affection. We
Come
need to
on,
know that
LL.
someone
Yeah.
care. We
Yeah.
need to know that. So I definitely push it like every day. Every day. Of course, my daughters is easy. They come. It's never a thing. To him, I just definitely make it a thing. Like definitely, so he knows that I love him. Even when he gets in trouble, I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm just angry. Like my wife got to hold my hand, babe. I was like, I'm angry right now. I'm gonna take him out. It's gonna be it. It's gonna be just her. Because right now he just need to go. I don't know where he just need to go. But
Now here's the
it's getting
question:
through
were
those
you
moments.
ever that way? Were you ever
Was
like him, or if
100%. He's my twin.
okay?
100%. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've learned, I'm telling you, there's something about seeing yourself.
It
Right.
aggravates you, don't it? It gets under your
Woo!
skin.
I mean, when you see, like, I'm not
Right.
trying to insinuate children are dirty, but when you see your dirt in your children,
Oh man.
make you want to catch a case. Make you want to catch a
Listen.
case.
Listen. One time I was in the room. I saw something, and so I looked at him. Obviously, started looking away. So I started like moving. So I was like, oh, I know that look, because the further you look away, the more closer I'm getting to some mess that's in this room. I was like, I know that look. I was like, I know it, brother. So that's when I flipped the bed over. I was like,
Come on, man. Yeah.
Well, it is classic too,
yeah,
because it be coming out of left field.
right.
Everything be
Yeah, see,
going good,
it's
and
all
then
my
bam.
shooting. It's all the way.
Sam is
Oh
putting
man.
you out there.
Yes. I can't listen. I can't deny it. She on here.
Right.
I can't even lie. Can't even lie. Yes, all the way.
Have either one of you guys ever been checking your kid and then realizing that what you checking them for is something that you as a grown person have a real issue with? And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, ooh.
Right.
But look,
Right.
I'm gonna tell y'all one time when God punched me in the chest. I'm checking my son, and God punched me in the chest. I'm like, boy, when you gonna learn to tell me the truth?
Right.
I was like, how
Right.
many times I gotta tell you? All you gotta do is tell me the
Tell
truth.
the truth.
I was like, have I ever hurt you? Have you ever went to the hospital? Have you ever bled? Have you ever felt like your life was gonna end? I was like, are you scared of me? Do you have a not do you respect me? And I'm going in, and I'm like, wow, God, is this what you tell me? Can I be over here keeping this inside and tell people I'm good when I know I'm not good? I was just like, wow.
Right.
But my
Right.
son is my mirror. I mean,
Right.
I'm not trying to make him like the word of God.
Yeah.
But
No.
when I look at him,
Right.
the things that I need correction with the most in life, I see them reflecting through him,
Right.
which is scary, but at the same time reassuring, because what it lets me know that it's kind of normal for every last one of us to go through phases and do certain things.
Yeah.
And the difference in how it all turns out is, okay, what do you do now? What have you been poured into? Well, and that's why I look at my son. So now the mercy factor becomes a lot bigger, and the patience is starting to grow.
Right. That patience. Patience. Today's word is patience.
But but again, I still say we have to be so careful.
Right.
We have to be so much more engaged with our boys.
Right.
It's not that we're not as engaged with our girls. I've learned how important it is that children grow up in a whole house.
Right.
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 WHOLE, a whole house.
Right.
When families are fractured, there are gaps, and you'll never be able to compensate, which is why Christ is so important. You got to have the Lord as the center of your house, no matter what, whether your home is whole or whether it's fractured. The wholeness is not in the marriage, because if the marriage dissolves, you can still be whole. Let's get that clear.
Yeah.
But the experience of the child can still be fractured because they don't have the mother and father together in the house.
Right.
And we have to make the most of what we have. But I still say that no matter what, because I think one of the challenges, like being a person who grew up without a father,
right.
I didn't have that man in my life. I had learned a lot of lessons later on. I learned them after making the mistakes. I didn't have that example in front of me. I didn't get that direction. I got a lot of great things from my mother, but I tell people all the time, a long time ago, I stopped telling my mother Happy Father's Day.
Right. Right.
Because a mother is not a father.
Right.
You hear people say that all the time. I'm your mother and your father. Nope. That's a lie from the pit.
Right.
You are who God called you to be, and he didn't call you to be both. As a matter of fact, there's a term for that in the Bible. Right.
Right.
And so, but I say that I think about this brother, this preacher out of Chicago, and I can't think of his name right now, prominent preacher out of Chicago. And he preached at Convocation, the Church of God in Christ Convocation one year. Okay. And he was looking at all the bishops. And he said, I remember growing up in the church. I saw the men in the church.
Right.
And I just wanted to be like you. He said, I wanted the oil that was on your lives. I wanted the anointing that you all carried with you. And I wanted to be close to you all. He said, I ended up joining the choir, and there were not a lot of men in the choir. Right. He said, I wanted to be a prayer warrior. He said, but in the church, the women were the prayer warriors. He said, and the church sent me to the women. Right. He said, I was looking for the oil on the man, the mantle on the man, but I was sent to the altar with the women. And what ended up happening is I was getting the anointing, but I also got their mannerisms. Right. And in the absence, John Hannah. Thank you, Sam. John Hannah. He said, I wanted the oil, but I also got the mannerisms. Wow. And the mannerisms tainted my life and made me question my sexuality.
Wow.
Right. And that's why fathers are critical to their sons.
Right.
I'm grateful. Like my mother raised us to be men. Right. And my mother sacrificed a lot of her femininity because she didn't want us to pick up those mannerisms.
Right.
If my mother came up to the school to see about us, she didn't wear a dress, a sundress, and a floppy hat. When my mother came to the school, she came to the school in jeans, boots, and a fatigue jacket, army fatigue jacket, right? Because she wanted to come up there like a father would come up there. I mean, I think about all these little things that she did, when I was young, to make sure that we picked up the right mannerisms.
Right.
My mother's a lady, always has been a lady. She knows. My mother. I tell people all the time. I had a mama that was on Essence magazine back in the 70s and 80s, nice. Right? But she had to carry herself in a way so as not to confuse her sons because there were no girls in the house. So what I'm saying is, it's important for men, for fathers, to be very close to your sons because they're going to pick up something. Children are a product of their environment, and it's the same thing with girls. When I look at girls, I think you all have heard me say this.
Right.
You don't know what kind of parent you have been until your children are old enough to show you without fear of consequence.
Right.
Right. When they're not worried about getting a whipping, that's when you're going to find out exactly who you were as a parent. So we have to be careful as parents to make sure that we're close to our children. Fathers, you have to raise your children. You have to be close to your sons, direct your sons, show them what manhood is.
Yeah.
Not just toughness and bravado.
Right.
Show them what manhood is.
Right.
Because manhood includes sensitivity.
Yes.
Manhood includes expressions of love.
Yep.
And patience and understanding. Manhood includes falling down on your face and crying out to God.
Right.
Manhood includes tears.
Right.
It includes all of those things. You know, and unless they see it played out properly, they'll be confused about it. And the same thing with our girls. If they don't see what being a lady is, what being a woman is, being a woman of God, being a wife, being a helpmeet, if they don't see what those things are, if they don't see the leadership in the absence of a man, right. I tell my girls, you know, being single doesn't mean you have to be a man.
Right.
Talk to me, somebody.
Right.
Good stuff.
You're right.
Right? Because those two don't go together. Be a lady and be single.
Yeah.
You know, being a single mother doesn't mean you have to be a man.
Right.
We get that stuff confused, and we've grown into a space where, you know, we have boys and girls competing for the same slot.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. And you can't blame the children. You can only blame the examples that are being played out before them.
Yes. Let's go up a little bit. Let me get some of these comments. I missed a lot. All right. It said, sorry here. My father struggled slightly with how to exactly show the affection to me as a man. He modeled how I should give it and how I should receive it. Cole also said, after that small adjustment period, it was cool. A dap or pound from my father. He's just as heartwarming to me as a kiss from my mother. Oh, let's see. He said, absolutely. He doesn't just like, I think I passed that. Let's see. That's me. I almost caught one this weekend and mine are grown.
I know. Wait, go back to that real quick. I need to pause for just a minute because I want you to, Nikita thinks she's slick. She thinks she's slick.
And it's going to go back to what you just said too, ain't it? You find out what
you see that? There's some gangster in that statement right there.
Yes, indeed.
There's some gangster.
Yeah.
That lets me further know.
Further. Will it
all the time, will it?
As fathers, is there any traits that you see in your children that you hate to see? Because you know
everything.
Told you the look. I knew it. I saw the look. I said, yeah, you in trouble.
But when my son get quiet, when he get quiet and start moving around, or he offer to do something.
Oh man.
Where you coming from? Oh, let's go and get out.
My wife says, see, that's yours. That's your child.
See, you look, my wife and your wife must be sisters because I think she says the same words verbatim. See, and you wonder.
Absolutely, I can only be a mother, and I don't want the responsibility of being a father. Hey, good morning. And he said, your heart is so kind to your children. I love how open you are with your son and daughters. Mentioned Pastor Hannah. He said, Cole said, Mama Corey was like Angela Davis up at their school. It said, funny you say that, Pastor. My father stressed being emotionally open a whole lot more with me than toughness, because he correctly saw that the toughness came naturally in me. Let's see. He said, you're preaching this morning. He said, on the next edition, brother, your children are you on the verge of catching the case?
That's Paquita. That's Paquita right
there.
Oh man, that's the patience.
As you guys live life now, and no, I'm gonna ask it because I ain't gonna compartmentalize, put nobody in no boat. Like I got this thing now. When my kids do something, I'm the conversation having in the house. My wife is quicker to whoop somebody than me. I'm like, I'm gonna talk you to death, which y'all probably already figured that much, right?
Like, oh Lord.
But I swear to God, like half the time when I'm disciplining my kids, or if there's a teachable moment, I try to say something that's prolific. I watch TV sometimes, like Shaq, Kobe, anybody on TV that people watch.
Right. And
they always have a statement. When I was this, my daddy said this to me. When I did this, my daddy said. So it's stuff that they really use, but I want my children to think back, because I look at them now. I look at my daughter. I was like, right now, baby girl, I was like, you think I'm crazy. You think I'm overreactive, and you think I'm going to kill every boyfriend you have, which I might. But sweetheart, the reason I'm doing this is because one day you're going to need this that I'm putting in your sack. You don't need it now. It smells bad. It tastes bad, and you don't like the way the texture on your tongue. It's cool because when you get a little one, you're gonna look back and you're like, wow, this is exactly what he was saying, and this is exactly what he meant. And I was like, you probably sitting over there right now. I was like, yeah, you crazy. I ain't gonna think none of that. And then you're gonna think about having this conversation in your head 20 years from now. And I was like, so in advance, you're welcome and I love you. I do that type of stuff a lot.
Right.
Oh, I got a good one. I have cameras in and outside my house.
Right.
And I saw my daughter kiss a boy.
You
know.
He's so silly.
Hey.
You saw what?
Yeah.
Hey, put Cole comment back up there.
Cole? He said, right there. He said, on the next edition, brother, how you on the verge of catching the case?
Yeah. And and my wife caught me. My wife caught me. You know, she's like, you were a teenager. You know, you cannot. You know, you can't. There's just you can't. She said, my wife said, you kissed somebody's daughter, right? When you didn't know, when you didn't see anybody looking. Right. I said, yeah, but they don't know I can see. And here's what's funny. When we had I had this conversation, because my wife told me, I don't want you to say anything. Don't you say anything. How could I not say something? Right. And so but what I didn't realize is when I was talking to her, he was on the phone.
Wow.
And he could hear me talking.
Wow.
And he heard me say things like, I'm not telling you what not to do. I just want to remind you of where you are and where you're going and who I am. I said, I would have never known if I hadn't invested in cameras. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
I said, but the fact that I actually saw it, like I can't be mad if you have a crush on a boy and you kiss a boy. I can't be mad.
I can be mad.
The problem is I'm not supposed to see it. Right?
Okay.
And here's the funny part. The funny part is I didn't know, like I was having a quick conversation with her and she was on the phone, but didn't tell me she was on the phone.
Wow.
So the little boy was on the phone.
Right.
And I said, I've seen his face now. I said, and I'm sure his father he looks like his father. So there's a resemblance. So if I see him or I see his father, I said, you must understand that now I want to break his neck. Right. This is me talking. Now, this is not Pastor McCrory talking. This is dad. Right. Talking to his daughter.
You ain't got you ain't even got
to be anybody's business.
You ain't got to explain it.
This daddy stuff here. You ain't got to distinguish none of that.
Right.
This is a baby.
Right.
It's some more
I said, it's your fault. I blamed her. I said, this is your fault. Wow. I said, because you let him kiss you. I didn't say you kissed him. I said, you let him kiss you.
Right.
On my property. I started taking ownership.
Ooh, Jesus.
He didn't kiss you where he paid a mortgage, where he paid property taxes. He kissed you, and I said he basically kissed me because you're my property. You're on my land. I was owning everything. I mean, and listen. I'm this is a confession to the people out here listening.
Oh man. Hey, you just gave me all types of cringe-worthy apprehensive looking forward to.
I literally put my hand up. I said, I feel like putting one hand on his head and another hand on the base of his neck and wringing out a towel is what I said. I said, I feel like wringing him like a towel. I want to wring his neck like I'm wringing out a towel. Yeah, I said, not only do I want to wring his neck, I said, I want to kill his father. Bro, I had to repent. I'm telling y'all, pray for me. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Because pastors aren't
one to
talk like this.
Right.
I became very territorial, right? And I told her, I said, this is your fault. I said, because he would have never done it if you didn't allow it.
Right.
And she was like,
never here.
Like he can only do what you allow him to do.
Right.
And I'm like, how you let him do that at my house? you asked me if you could have company.
Right.
And this is what you do? Man, I went in, bro. I went in.
Wait a minute. Look. Oh, man.
I went in. Listen.
I need a process.
Let's do that.
Listen, I'm not telling you that I was right.
Right.
No, because
at the same time, I didn't feel wrong.
Absolutely.
I got it. I got you.
So she came to me a couple of days later because she went and talked to her mom and she cried and this and that and and I felt bad but here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. She came to me a few days later and she said, Dad, you have a few minutes? I want to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, I do, baby. I had no idea what she was going to say. She said, I want to talk to you about what happened the other day. I said, oh, okay. So I sat down and she said, I didn't like what you said, Dad. She said, it hurt my heart. It hurt my feelings, and I'm starting to get emotional. She said, but I'll be honest with you. She said, I understood where you were coming from. That's what she said. Now, this is there's no other way for me to tell this except tell you what happened.
Right.
She said, I went too far. It doesn't matter what I feel like I can do. What matters is what I should be doing right now. So she said, what you were trying to tell me is not yet.
Right.
So she said, I got ahead of myself. She said, I told him that this is not where I can be right now. I told him this is not where we should be right now. I said, we can be friends, but we can't do things today that grown folks do when they're in their own house because we're not there. This is what she said now.
Wow.
And she said, he broke up with me.
Wow.
That's what she said. Right?
If I hear somebody say they want to kill me over the phone, I might break up with it too. You said you want to kill his daddy.
No, but here's the thing. She said, the only thing that changed is that I didn't want to be physical.
Right.
And he was done. Okay?
Wow. Right.
The only thing that changed is that I no longer wanted to be physical. And he was done.
Wow.
Now let that marinate. Put that in your cup of joe.
Right? Fact, sir.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let AD do whatever he got to do to get up out of here. I'm gonna go back to something that I say all the time. Boys are biscuits that are in the oven, cooked, not prepared to eat, not ready to be eaten or consumed until about 30, because they're just not ready.
Don't be the low-hanging fruit for these boys.
Right. What that too. Right.
Don't be the low-hanging fruit. But guess what, y'all?
Right.
I've seen enough. I've ministered to enough girls. I've ministered to enough boys with broken hearts.
Right.
These girls out here putting notches in their belt just like boys are.
Facts.
Wow.
There's no difference. They are competing for the same space. Same space.
I want to tell me that.
Change some things. That's what we're here for. All right. I got to put Keita's coming up because we can't get out of here. She said, when my daughter got pregnant, I went to their house, Pastor, at 12 in the morning because I wanted an answer. And the mom said that I know I was wrong, but I blacked out.
I feel you, sis. I feel you. I'm telling you, I'm not telling y'all that it was right.
Right.
Right. But I'm telling you, I don't need you to explain to me how sausage is made. All I want to know is that it tastes good. My process may be a little, unique, but the end result is the lesson was learned.
Awesome. All right.
Well, you made my whole stomach is knotted up, Pastor.
Yeah.
My whole stomach. Look, when you started telling that story, I want you to know I had physiological reactions over here, not just mental, psychological. I had the hair started standing up on my arm. Right. It's like my body started feeling like I was losing blood. Like, you know, that when you get that flash of I was almost taken out of here. That little.
Listen, man, I know. Look, I stay in trouble. I'm not. I cannot preach what I haven't lived.
Right.
But I haven't found a topic that I can't preach yet.
Right.
Okay. I don't preach what I haven't lived, and I ain't found nothing I can't preach yet. I'm still looking for the scripture that I ain't lived yet. I'm still looking for it. I'm looking. I mean, I'm in the word. Got that one, man.
I'm embarking on that. I'm embarking on the territory that you're occupying right now.
Yeah, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. I've heard preachers say, "Well, I ain't never done that," but I'm gonna tell you what the Bible said. I wish, man. Lord, Lord, show me something.
And I ain't did.
Look, the whole horn of oil on me, because I'm gonna need it.
Hey, I know I need Jesus.
I wouldn't have waited in the house. My wife couldn't have kept me in the house. Me and my wife would have been mad at each other because you can't. And the friend, no. Wow.
Yeah, Cole. What I said wasn't right, but I'm glad you understand. I appreciate you, man.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
I'm thankful because now I can take your model and I can start reverse engineering, trying to process. I know it might not work, but I'm gonna take what you
reverse engineer
it, and I'm gonna try to jump out ahead of this. I'm gonna try to jump out ahead of it.
Hey, I had the quarterback. I had a crush on Brienne pulling up, and no, it was Rachel. These boys, okay. I mean, these boys, they be coming from everywhere.
He looked out the window. Hold
on. Yeah. He pulls up outside, and she says, "Hey, Dad, I had a friend of mine from school who pulled up outside. Can I go outside?" I'm like, tell the Negro to come to the door.
Right.
You don't go meet nobody at the car, you know. Right. And he gets out the car, and he like, I'm 5'8" on a great day. This dude steps out of this car, like expensive car,
Right.
Like, where you get that from? I'm like, what your daddy do? Right.
Right.
And he's like the captain of the football team, quarterback, whatever. And he steps out the car, and this dude like 6'3". Right now, I'm mad because like I'm immediately thinking, okay, so if I hit him in his knee, I'll bring him down. He'll at least come down to about 5'10" if I hit him in his knee, right?
Right.
But here's the thing. He's mannerable. He's trained well. He steps out. He stands up straight. He looks me in my eyes. He reaches out his hand and gives me a firm handshake. Right. And he was like, "Sir, my name," and I can't even remember his name. It's a pleasure to meet you. I said, look at this handshake. I said, man.
Right.
I said,
brother, in my house.
Hey, I said, I appreciate. And my daughter standing there, and she's like, yeah, he's a good one, ain't he, Daddy? And I'm like, man, and I told him, I said, man, I appreciate this, man. I said, but I'll still get you. And he laughed, right? And my daughter's like, oh, listen, I'm saying, I told him, I said, listen, man, I want you to go home and tell your father I commend him. Right. I commend him.
Right.
I said, but please understand, my daughter is never going to come out to the car to meet you. Right. I said, all this here is I said, y'all have a conversation, do what you do. I said, but I still get you. Right. He was trying to do everything right.
Right.
Like, because my daughter, listen, when you meet my dad, here's what you have to do. You have to walk up to him. You got to shake his hand. You got to look him in the eye. I mean, they do this. They try to get him ready, bro. They try to get him ready. And my daughter's standing back there like a proud parent, like I taught him well, you know.
Not knowing that no matter how perfect he is, it's never gonna work.
Man, this is what I'm like. Listen, you have to understand that as long as you're under my roof, I hate all boys.
Right.
I hate them all. I said I don't like anybody that likes you, and that's what you have to deal with.
Right.
If you can deal with that, and they still want to come around, I'm cool. But they need to understand, day one, I don't like them. I don't want nothing to do with them. And I tell my wife, I need you to deal with them. You go say hi. You pull out the cookies and the juice, whatever. You know, I'm gonna be upstairs because y'all don't want me in the conversation.
Right.
You know, and you know, this is not healthy, people.
Right.
This is not healthy.
I feel you because I've been processing that from the moment, you know, you look at your daughter, you're like, you got hips on you? What the, you know, like you like, oh.
I tell them, I tell them the great part about me is I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm teaching you how to express yourself. Right. I want you to know straight up that there's nothing they can do while you're under 25.
Right.
Nothing.
Look, all I know is Corona is gonna surprise when my kids go back to school.
Oh yeah.
When my kids go back to school, my daughter has grown. She looked like a tween before COVID hit. She looked like she was 9-10 before COVID hit. My baby growing up.
Right.
Yeah, if you're a Democrat, I'm gonna be a Republican. If you're a Republican, I'm gonna be a Democrat. Hey,
you can't find easy ground.
If he know the Lord, I'm gonna tell him he got a demon. There's a strong room. We got to bind the strong man. You know, it's all. Okay. I mean, I'm having fun. I enjoy this part of life. I really, really do. But we laugh and joke about it all the time. Yeah. But you can do that when you've done your best to train your children up.
Right. Yes. Yes.
There's nothing wrong with having a little fun. And my daughters absolutely crack up at their dad. My wife, they think I'm crazy. They don't understand how God could love a man like me.
See, Pastor, that was the key. They think.
Great. I'm independent.
No, I'm not even going to be independent. I won't be Canada.
Right.
I'm going to be the opposite of who you are.
Cole said something interesting. He said, part of my divorce back in the day was centered around my wife not cutting the tie with her father. She was a grown woman, and still that type of toxicity existed with such a bond. Interesting.
Part of my divorce back in the day was centered around my wife not cutting the tie with her father. Was the father at your wedding?
Interesting.
Did he give his daughter away?
Right. Well, that's interesting.
Or was he an Indian giver? Did he lie at the wedding?
Right. He took it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But that's just that. I think that's just a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what that is. And the Bible says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You know,
right.
We have to. That's why the word of God is so important. Right. A man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife. Women, submit yourselves unto your husbands. Right. Husbands, submit yourselves unto your wives as Christ did for the church.
Yes, indeed. Don't
get it twisted. We all have to submit.
Right. I think we just want to hit that fast forward. Like, okay, you're dating when you get married.
You know, like, why are you in a hurry? Why are you in a hurry?
Yeah. Take your time. Please take your time.
Take your time.
My ex-father-in-law. He said my ex-father-in-law wasn't an Indian giver. Right. Probably want to let you handle business. You're right.
I was that dude that went to see somebody's like pastor daughter and meeting a man like pastor.
Yeah.
And I was messed up. I wasn't a messed up individual, but I wasn't ready to be nothing. You know, I still had some refining to go through, but I had a great heart and I was a good dude.
Right.
So I could shake hands and have a great conversation and articulate myself fairly well and be impressive with parents.
Right.
And fathers love me, but I'm being real with me. 18 to 30,
Right.
I won't, you can fill in the blank. I won't much. I was a good dude, but it was a whole lot of potential with no kinetic energy. And that's where a lot of our girls are going to find themselves. There are a lot of good dudes out there. And when I say good dudes, I mean they got a lot of good potential inside of them. But some of them don't know how to cultivate it yet. And even when you are in a place where you have somebody to train you and teach you how to cultivate what's inside you, you still got to go through life. And that is still going to leave you with some bumps and bruises along the way. Right. Because I was, there ain't no shit. I was a hoe. but I could walk up to somebody who daddy was a bishop of 4 churches and he liked me.
Wow.
No, let me change this. I did walk up to people who daddies was in those positions and they absolutely loved me. But I was 19, I was 21. What you think I was doing? I wasn't ready for that yet.
I think it's
so I ain't gonna believe none of them, Pastor.
Something that you said, Pastor, that about the intentions. When your daughter set the intention, what was his reaction?
Right.
And from that is okay. Now he's still here. Okay, so that shows that he's willing to wait. That means he really wants to get with you. He really wants to love you, or at least get to that point. So we'll see where the journey goes from here. Because he could still say yeah, and then be like, yeah, I hear you. And then shoot a shot again. Do the lean in, let's see how this go, where's this gonna go, but yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey for all of us. Because at the end of the day, we want our children to make the right decisions. Remember who you connecting with. This is a lifetime, and you do adult stuff and you get adult results. Where's your life going? What do you want your life to become?
But there's also, living life in and of itself, right? Because it's like we live in a day and age where I'm not trying to marry you. I want to go out and have a nice time.
Right.
I want to go kick it. Right. And that's the and my thing is, I don't know. Dwayne, you were saying something earlier. I personally, growing up, I did not interact with fathers. I can't even remember meeting somebody's dad.
Wow.
I was a little church boy that grew up.
The 2 fathers that I met, those women I married.
Wow.
My first wife, I met her father. I married her. My wife, I met her father.
Right.
We've been married 22 years.
Wow. Right.
You understand? Outside of that, I didn't meet fathers, man.
Right. See, when I wasn't, I met fathers and got prepared for that when I was a virgin. Wasn't even thinking about I was a little church boy who grew up in the streets. Right. So when I started going to church, the crazy thing about the church I grew up in, there was a lot of men, which was rare.
Right.
And most of them had sons and daughters. So I'm clicking up with the sons, and I'm Deacon John Carmichael. His daughter Shannon was my first girlfriend, old enough to get in trouble, age, but never got in trouble. And her brother Will, we was tight. So I would go to their house after church whenever we would have afternoon services. So I would come back to church with him. And I found the way to it. And it's crazy because I found the way to his heart. Now, he was like, come here, boy. He knew I liked his daughter. He was like, come here, boy. He was like, I don't want to catch you in my daughter's room. He said, you better stay over there in the main room. He was like, now I want you to go out there and get that bag and go feed my dogs.
What's up, Mark?
That's funny. Rottweilers.
Wow.
And I was scared of Rottweilers. I got chased all the time by Rottweilers. And they were big. Roblox. What kind of dog named Roblox? This is before the game. This dog was about 125 pounds. And as
Yeah,
soon
but
as I
that, you know,
started
it's funny.
walking
You
towards it,
think about dog names like that. Tells you everything you need to know about the father who named him.
Right.
look, and his name was Big John.
All right, there you go.
But Big John ended up loving, like, even to this day, if he see me, come here, boy, give me a hug.
Right.
Yeah.
So I learned how to deal with fathers. So I guess I say this: I'm not gonna look down at any boy who comes to my house one day in the distant future to court my daughter. But I just need you to know, when I don't trust what I see, don't take it personal.
Right.
I done seen some stuff.
Right.
I done been and Pastor,
Y'all just got to forgive me because I want you to take it personal.
Look, my first kiss, Pastor, was still at Big John's house.
Wow.
While they went back to choir practice, they left me at the house with Will, but his sister was still there.
Wow.
Coming out the back step.
Yeah, So yeah, my wife, her dad had passed a long time, so the male figure I had to meet for her was the pastor of the church in New York.
That's
and
good.
Was like, and they was like, "Are you ready?" I was like, I knew my intentions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I always think about, like, for me at that point, I was like, I knew my intentions were long term. Like, maybe not marriage, because as a guy, sometimes you don't think about it. I'm like, but I'm not. This isn't like a short term thing. So meeting him wasn't a difficult thing. Plus, it was him and the assistant who became my godparents, who became my children's godparents. So it was meeting those two, the looking
she was
at
covered
up and down. Right. She was.
Sam
she
was covered.
Yeah. She was covered. So it was.
And that's why you're still in it, because the folks they'll put an APB out on you. See?
Right. Exactly.
Hey,
so
Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
So you were scared?
Nah, because like I said, I knew my intentions. I was like, I'm good. I didn't go to church. I figured, I was like, yeah, that's probably gonna be the only issue, because I didn't go to church. My mother drove witness, but I wasn't like against church. Like I tried. I give it a shot. I'll come. Because you wanted, right? Yeah, you wanted all this of like so silly.
If we hear music playing in the background, Pastor, just let him go.
Hey, listen, I tip my hat to him, man, because all those years ago, AD had vision.
Right.
Yeah, vision. So
right. Oh,
Sam ought to be saying thank you.
Same with meeting my wife, AD. Her father passed many years ago. The male figure I had to meet was her brother. Right.
But there was somebody there. See, that's the thing.
Right,
it's great to have somebody there.
I think that's
what's important for our girls. Our girls need to have someone in their corner so that they don't feel like they have to settle.
Right. And so the thing. And I know this would be like a whole nother topic, but when you're speaking about like the single, like you're a single woman, but you don't have to be a man, there should be like a covering for you to call, just like, if just like Cole was saying, the father wouldn't let go of the daughter, like if your daughter, if Brienne is married, she calls like, I need, your first thing is like, well, where's John? Well, let me speak to him. Let's find out what's going on, and then we'll go from there. Cause I gave you away to him. Like this is his spot,
Listen, Keita Patrick is on here.
Yeah.
Keita Patrick is a single woman.
Yes.
Right? Let some dude be calling on Keita Patrick. He's going to have to meet me.
Right.
He's going to have to meet the men of the temple.
Right. Exactly.
You got to bring him around the church, because he'll never last if the men of the temple don't know who he is.
Right.
And he'll never last. And come up in there and say you've been dating some guy for 6 months and he ain't been around us. Everybody in there be, man.
He said, I've had 6 years independence before. I have had 6 years independence before. Was always with my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, and the women just have to give a space for the man to be the covering, hey, a trusting,
make room for your cover. Absolutely.
Right. Make room for the covering, because we're here, it's had the connection, like my sister-in-law, like, stop, you gotta, who you get with. Like, give us an opportunity to know who this is, so we can give you some advice. Like, yo, do you see? Are you noticing? And have the because sometimes having conversations outside of you, like, I didn't even think about that. It's like, you need to see these things. So covering is important.
Look, between what you just said, AD, and Pastor soliloquy earlier, man, y'all just took me to National Geographic. No, I'm dead serious. In so many ways. God tells us to consider nature all the time. Look at the birds, look at the ants, the small foxes. It's all. Do you realize that offspring in nature are 9 times out of 10 hidden away? Even as they're teaching and learning, they hide them away as they don't expose them to the danger up front.
Right.
They hide them away till they get some strength to have some mobility, make some decisions, and then they're still around.
Right.
And then even after they're still around, when they're on the move, they're like in the center because everybody around them got their backs.
Right.
You ever see a lion go after a wildebeest?
Right.
And then the wildebeest like, yeah, he might get us, but they 1,500 of us, and they only 3 of y'all.
Right.
Yeah. They turn the tables and go after them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They don't go after the ones that's ready. They go after the ones that don't know any better yet.
Right.
The ones that if they break right, they're gonna break right, and they're gonna get caught because they ain't figured the dash out yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
And that's what I mean by don't be the low hanging fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't be the cub that's straight away.
Right. All right, gentlemen. It's getting late. I gotta roll. And we appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us. And all that and then some. Right. We rolling out. It's all good. So we'll see you guys in the AM, same place, same time, same channel. Make sure you join our text community. Text LWN to 84576. Text LWN to 84576. Remember, Sisters of Legacy is tonight. I forgot my ads. It's all good. Sisters of Legacy tonight at 8:30, as well as Pastor Brian McCory will be Solomon's Temple at 7 p.m. as well. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be some great conversation, some great word. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys in the morning. Thank you, Mama Corey. Appreciate you.
How are you online? What time is your flight, Mom?
With you. We had a discussion offline.
You ready to get to the airport? That's what you better do. Messing around.
Get to the airport. All right. We'll see you guys in the morning.
I didn't want to catch that. Good morning. Welcome to another episode. Good morning. Everybody.
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.